Great, it's Bohemian Vin Diesel again. Anyways, ladies and gents, welcome back to Kingdom Come Deliverance with Mags. In the last episode, we finished off with young Henry getting knocked the fuck out by a big boy with a bigger stick. Ended up getting our ass dragged in a wagon across the countryside to an unknown location where we're now currently delirious, but at the very least alive. And apparently re-experiencing all of our memories of the attack.
Henry! There's work to be done.
Damn right there is. I've got some asses to kick.
Wake up, Henry. It's past sunrise.
Henry, can you hear me?
Even delirious Henry's a perv. Eyes up, mate.
It's a new day.
That's
Henry,
better.
Can you hear me? Hallelujah. I thought you'd never wake. Were you having a nightmare?
A nightmare? Not really. That was just my last family reunion.
You still have a fever. Uncle won't be pleased, but you'll have to stay in bed.
Where am I? In Skalitz?
We're at my uncle's mill in Rattay. I didn't know where else to go.
What happened?
You don't remember anything? I suppose that's not surprising. I found you in Skalitz after those bandits attacked you. I thought they'd done for you, but you were still breathing. Why in heaven's name did you go back there? It was madness. They slaughtered everyone who didn't run.
My parents, I wanted to bury them. I had to...
Don't worry. I took care of it.
Thank you.
Any good Christian would have done the same. Now sleep. You need your strength back.
Imagine getting hit so hard with a club that it left you delirious and with a fever.
You're awake.
Good morning.
It's near midnight. You've slept all day.
Oh. Oh, I feel like a horse fell on me.
The beating you took was worse. But at least the fever's broken.
Alright, conversation options. How did you
How
find
did you manage
me?
to save me?
You were lucky. I was in Skalitz and I saw Zbyszek and his thugs. I tried to distract them, but it would have been no use if those soldiers from Tamburg hadn't arrived. They were searching for you and scattered the bandits.
Distract? You walked into the middle of a burning town like Wonder Woman.
What in the world were you doing in Skalitz?
Waiting to die.
What?
Great, a medieval emo.
They killed my brothers, my family, my friends.
They're all dead.
All of them. Everyone I ever loved. They killed one of my brothers in the mines. After that, what did I have to live for?
Don't say that. There's always hope.
No, there isn't. But it doesn't matter. I'm a different person now.
It's been a couple of days. No, you're not. Anyways, they were looking for me?
Searching for me?
Yes. Lord Divish sent them, led by Captain Robard. So tell me, why is a lord of such high standing interested in a blacksmith?
Oh, he probably thinks I nailed his
Divish
wife.
promised Sir Rattay he'd look after me. But as for why they should care, I've no idea.
Probably something to do with the fact that he made a promise and he'd look like a right dick if he failed that promise on the first day.
Oh, I'm exhausted.
I'm not surprised. I'll bring you water and something to eat. In the meantime, rest. You're still very weak. Good morning to you. How's the invalid today?
Ugh, haven't felt as good as this since they lashed me to the wheel and quartered me on the town square.
Kinky.
Got your sense of humor back. You must be better. My uncle will be glad to hear it. I had a job persuading him to let me bring you here. If you'd lain around much longer, he really would have dumped you on the town square. You can stay until you find somewhere else to live, but my uncle will want payment for taking you in and caring for you.
Well, yeah, that's fair enough. Anyways, where am I?
And this is your uncle's house?
We're in Rattay Mill, my uncle's miller Peshek. He took me in, and I talked him into taking care of you too.
Rattay. That's where Radzig was heading. That's convenient.
Been lying here long enough.
Uncle will be pleased he's one mouth less to feed. But are you truly well enough?
Well enough to do what has to be done. Where can I find Sir Radzig?
He's in the lower castle in Perkstein. He's a guest of Sir Hanush of Leipa. But someone like you can't just walk up bold as you please and demand an audience.
I know Thermaltake, and I didn't bring him his sword as I was supposed to. I must see him.
If you insist. But you need to speak to my uncle first. You've been in your sickbed for over a fortnight while he paid the apothecary to tend to you, and for medicine. That's a good deal of a coin you owe him.
I've been lying here 2 weeks. My God.
Better a fortnight in bed than an eternity in the grave. If it weren't for my uncle, you wouldn't be here at all.
I owe you both my life, and I'll repay my debt. You have my word.
All right. But before you go to town, you should eat something. You're still weak. There's food on the table for you.
Delirium, a fever, and 2 weeks in bed for getting clocked upside the head with a bat. What the hell was on the bat, anthrax?
Hey, youngster, come here.
And I take it you're the uncle. Alright, time to see how I repay the debt.
My name's Henry. Thank you for taking care of me here.
My name's Peshek, and I'm the miller here. You've already met my niece, Razer. She took care of you for 2 whole weeks while you were in limbo. And talking of you being at death's door, while you were lying here, you worked up quite a bill with the bloodletter, who came now and again to keep you alive with his potions. That quack doesn't come cheap. I paid him what I could, but I still, that is, you still owe him.
Why do you sound permanently pissed off?
Well, it's better to be in debt than to lie dead in a ditch. What do I owe? I'm not afraid of hard work.
You won't pay for that shoveling manure. I might have a better job for you.
Well, that's a shame. I was looking forward to the
It's
shoveling
not
shit
something any
minigame.
fool could do. If you prove to me you're a clever lad, I might trust you with something you could really make money from. What do you say?
If it can make money, I'd be really curious why you're not doing
What
it
would you need
yourself.
from me?
A trifle. Just to take something from someone and bring it to someone else. And not get caught while you're doing it.
That sounds straightforward enough. Except for not get caught. Why would anyone want to catch me?
You
Oh,
idiot.
don't worry. It's just a job like any other. Only this one requires, let's say, the right moral disposition. Do corpses bother you?
No honourable man should touch them. That's the executioner's job.
Did you expect I'd give you a hoe and send you out to the fields? You can dig all right, but somewhere else. I want to know whether you're going to hide behind some stupid fucking scruples, or if you might be useful for more unconventional.
Alright, I actually really like this guy, but Henry is a moron.
I was prepared for just about anything, but that's a bit much. But go on. Tell me more.
Listen, it's about this ring my mate Wojciech, the Kohelnitz miller, had his eye on. Trouble is, they buried the ring by the gibbet along with the villain they hung while he was wearing it.
Jesus Christ. You want me to dig up a corpse, take a ring from it, and give it to your friend in Kohelnitz? There's nothing sacred to you.
Money first, morals later. That fellow is dead. He won't miss it.
Well, he's not wrong.
Whatever bleeding heart came up with the idea that it's disrespectful to disturb a corpse never read the Bible. It's still a human body, only it's missing a soul. Why be disgusted by something created by God?
Nice argument in defense, mate, but you had me at steal shit and make money.
I think I've already heard more than I need to know. You've got the tongue of the devil himself. If you tried hard enough, I bet you could justify sodomy with a goat.
Watch your mouth, boy.
Yeah, don't insult the miller's wife.
There's a shovel here around the mill somewhere. If there's any problem, come and see me. And here's something on the side to make you dig better.
Thanks. I'll need it. I can't believe I've come to this. Digging up corpses.
Oh, and watch out for the executioner and his hounds. They're pretty savage. And I don't just mean the dogs. You can just throw them some meat. The dogs, that is. But the executioner? Well, don't vex him. Good luck.
Alright, that makes things slightly more complicated. This whole line of discussion, however, doesn't really work particularly well with my playthrough, considering I looted every single corpse in Skalitz before I got into that final fight. But, anyways, first things first, let's take a look at our inventory. And unfortunately, we have just our night clothes and nothing else. But, what we're after is obviously in a trunk, because we've got keys for a trunk. Easy enough, it's the one next to the bed. Now, we've still got access to everything we had on us at Skalitz inside of this chest, except Sir Radzig's sword. That one we're going to have to go and find and get back. Which is why it's worth the time to actually try and loot everything, get all the gold up you possibly can, and to get all the equipment you possibly can, because everything you collect in that starting area you will take on for the rest of the game. So giving yourself the best starter boost you possibly can get is always a good idea. Anyways, time to gear up and get on with the quest. Alright, and so welcome to the Rattay Mill. Now, our first objective in this quest is to find the spade. We need the spade to dig up the corpse that the miller wants us to go and find in order to find the ring. Thankfully, the spade's not too difficult to find, although I did almost miss it here. And we do have a bit of a smorgasbord served up back in the house, so we've had a chance to eat. So nourishment is full, energy is full after 2 weeks sleep. It'd bloody wanna be. We've now got the spade. It's just a matter of working out where we need to go. So, to our south-southeast we have the city of Rattay. This is where Sir Radzig went to, and it is a full-on castle with a massive outer wall and it's a completely self-contained town. It's not like Skalitz was. Our objective, however, is to the southwest. Not a huge walk. We've got to go a little bit past Rattay and a little bit down, and it looks like we've got to cross a river. So, all in all, relatively short distance and perfectly fine to do on a horse. But of course, this is our first time outside of the tutorial area where we get to walk around the map. We don't actually have to do this quest. We can just bugger off into the forests and disappear for the next 30 hours of gameplay if we feel like it. But we are going to play through all the quests in sequence, and I do feel that we probably need to pay the miller back. Now, even though the distance on the map is not overly large, the walking time between where we are and where we need to go is still going to take about 10 minutes. And the whole 10 minutes is at this level of detail. The map is gorgeous. And I haven't seen all of it yet. I cannot wait until I finally get to. And that is the outer wall and one of the southern towers of Rattay and the path that leads up to the town. We will be going up there soon enough, but not quite yet. Let's pay our debts first, and then go try and explain to the former Lord of Skalitz how he managed to lose his sword by being a bloody idiot. And you know, it probably would have been much more convenient to just go across the bridge, but this works too. So having spent 6 or 7 minutes crawling through the forest, we finally come upon the gallows. And as a bonus, we've uncovered part of the fog of war, so we've now got a much better idea of the layout of the map. Now, the miller did say the corpse was buried next to the gallows, but not exactly where. And there's a house just over there that is probably the executioner's, so he's relatively close, and we are here in broad daylight. Now, I don't know whether or not there is actually a rule that says we can't go anywhere near the gallows at any time, or whether it's not we just can't touch anything around the gallows. I don't know what the law is, but considering Henry's current fighting ability, I don't really want to risk pissing the executioner off, or his dogs. So what I'm going to do is have a quiet scout around the gallows so we can see whether or not we can locate the grave, and once we've managed to do that, slip back into the edge of the forest, and we'll just wait until night time and then sneak over in the cover of darkness where stealth levels are higher and chances are we won't get detected. Now, on the subject of stealth, the stealth mechanics in Kingdom Come Deliverance aren't horrible. They're not the best that I've seen. That title still goes to Thief 2: The Metal Age. That was fantastic. Still one of my favourite stealth games. I actually really need to play that again at some point, I think. But they're not horrible, and it's a bit of a trade on exactly how I want to play this character. I want this Henry to be able to fight, sword and shield, and be able to defend himself in a straight-up fight versus soldiers. And there's the grave. So now we've located exactly where it is, we can slip off just quietly into the forest and wait until it's nice and dark. So as we wait, back to the subject of stealth. I want my Henry to be able to fight, but at the same time I want him to be able to sneak around and get around objectives if necessary, and that's where the catch comes in. The more gear you're carrying and the more gear you're wearing and the heavier your armor is, the louder you are. And we'll just grab a quick feed before going about digging up the dead. So, To make the stealth work, you need to be in as light an armor as possible, with as little gear and as little equipment as possible on you at any given time. You can hear the noise you're making with just this level of armor on right now. Now, at the same time, if you want to be able to fight, you need to be in the heaviest armor that you have available. So I'm not sure how I'm going to make this character work just yet, but we'll see how it goes. Anyways, here is the grave. Alright, Henry, let's get to work. And I love the fact that you actually do dig up the corpse. It's not just click the button and suddenly there's a hole.
Nothing on the left hand. The right? Oh shit, there's nothing there either. Where the fuck is that ring? Oh, the stench makes me want to puke. Peshek will pay for this.
Well, technically he already has. You're still alive, but it does not surprise me in the slightest that there's no ring there. After all, we have an executioner who is the only person who's allowed to handle the bodies. And you have bodies that have valuables on them that he has to put into the ground, and he still has to make a living. And executioners, as I recall my history, were not overly fondly thought of by the general population. So if you're going to be disliked, at least you can be disliked and live comfortably for the time period with the gold supplied by the crown and the valuables that the dead no longer require. So after getting a safe distance away from the executioner's house, I sparked up a torch and made my way back. Now it's worth having a clean up before we go to bed because everybody will be asleep at this point. There's no point in waking anybody up. Your level of dirtiness directly affects your charisma as well, so it's always worth trying to keep clean when you can. And now we can grab a couple of hours shut-eye until morning when everybody will be up, talk to the miller, and find out what the next step in this quest is going to be. So we bet everybody out of bed, had a little breakfast, and now it's time for the old bloke to come over here so we can actually sort out our quest. Now, it's interesting, we've still got the option to pay out the coin, but I'm not going to be doing that.
There was a corpse in the grave, but no ring. What the fuck is going on?
Easy, Hal. Hold your horses. If the ring wasn't on the corpse, the executioner must have taken it before he buried the body.
I can see where this is going. You want me to get the ring from the executioner?
Hey, Henry bought himself a clue.
Only I wouldn't recommend talking to him about it. He's a bit touchy on the subject of robbing the dead. It'd be better to pinch it from his house.
At this point, I don't even know why it's giving me the option to not do it.
I'll go and find that ring.
It should be in a trunk somewhere in the house. And look here, Henry. Do you know how to get past a lock?
Get past the lock? You mean jemmy it off with a crowbar?
And the clue's
No,
gone.
you don't. I mean the delicate, gentle art of opening it quietly and with sensitivity, like popping a young maiden's cherry.
Nah, Henry's the kind of bloke that just goes in dry. Anyways, I absolutely do know how to pick a lock, but I'm going to say I don't.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to try that yet.
Fucking hell. How did I get landed with a cretin like you? I'll have to teach you then. Come with me.
Alright, the point here is very simple. In Kingdom Come Deliverance, as I've said in previous videos, if you want to increase your skill in any area, you have to perform the activity. Tutorial tests like this one are included in doing that activity, so doing them is a fairly easy way to increase your skills early on.
Now turn the whole lock to blade, but don't stop holding the tumbler with the pick. Otherwise, you'll be fucked and you'll have to start all over again.
I really do like the miller. But yeah, anyways, the mechanic is exactly the same as I showed in the previous video. Just hold the cursor in the spot when it lights up yellow. Rotate the lock.
Hand, Hal. Make something out of you yet. But remember, this trunk's only for practice. With real
And we get a free save your snaps as well. So, at this point, we're pretty much ready to go and get the ring. However, before we went to that, I did want to go back and speak to the miller one more time, because I noticed an option in there for practicing pickpocketing. And there he is, closing the door in my face. Rude prick. Now, when speaking to him, the option didn't pop up again, so I'm assuming I have to complete the ring quest in order to get it, but it was an opportunity to ask a few questions.
Tell me something about yourself.
There's nothing much to tell. I I was born at the mill, I live here, and I'll surely die here. But before I do, I've plenty of work to do, and I hope I live to see peace in this land again.
Now, the thing you need to keep in mind, the miller isn't just a miller.
Can you tell me something about the other millers?
There's a couple of other fellows around here in my trade. Wojciech in Kohelnitz and Simon in Sassa.
And by trade, he's not talking about making flour.
Tell me about
he's a
Wojciech.
fence.
He's young and hot-blooded with a short temper. But he's a fine fellow when you get to know him. His heart's in the right place, and he's always willing to lend a helping hand. Unfortunately, he got himself into a feud with that usurer, the merchant Wolfram Pruder. A slimy bastard he is. And now they're sworn enemies.
Pruder. That may be useful.
What about this Simon in Sasau?
An odd one he is. A loner who don't talk much. But he's as dogged as a hunting hound once he gets his teeth into anything. He won't let go until he sees it through, even if he has to walk over dead bodies.
Again, sounds like somebody I'm probably going to have to speak to relatively soon. So, can you tell me? Okay, so we've heard Teresa's take on what's going on. Let's see what the miller thinks. How are the people from Skalitz going?
What about the Skalitz folk?
God sent them to punish us for our sins. They don't work, they just idle around begging. And you want to keep a close eye on your belongings when they're around. I'll be glad to see the back of them.
Says the professional thief. Okay, so what do you think about what happened?
What do you think about everything that's happened?
I don't concern myself with the doings of my betters, but this mess isn't good for business. Them two brothers should sort things out between themselves without dragging us into it. I don't give a damn who's king, but that usurper from Hungary has gone too far.
Well, that we most certainly agree on. And what about those Cumans?
Do you know anything about those Cumans?
The heathen scum that Sigismund brought here. Why do you even ask? You've seen with your own two eyes what they're capable of.
Yeah, it's not so much about
That's
what
all.
they're capable of, just some decent information on them at all would have been nice, but hey.
Farewell.
Still, a little bit of useful information there as to what is going on, and clearly there are two other millers that specialise in this particular line of work that we will probably have to speak to at some time for additional missions and to see what is going on in the area. But anyways, at this point, it's time to head back up to the Executioner's shack and see whether or not we can quietly slip inside. So again, another quick 10-minute trek up the mountain, and we're at the front gate to the Executioner's little homestead here. Now, we were warned about the dogs, and we're warned about the Executioner himself. And we can see one of the dogs just over there, so I want to make sure they're clear, and I'm also looking to see whether or not I can get around the side of the house. Unfortunately, I can't, and where the actual Executioner himself is. Now, I'm doing this in daylight, which may sound odd, but the problem is I need to get into the main house. At night time, the Executioner is guaranteed to be inside the main house. During the day, however, he'll be out working, doing things, torturing people in cells, perhaps executing someone, or at the very least doing his own gardening. He's not going to be inside of that house. I just need to work out exactly how far away he is and make sure that he cannot see me getting to the front door before I go for the ring. Now we can see one dog down the back, one is patrolling back and forward, and the last time I saw the Executioner, he was heading into the shed to the left-hand side just behind this door, this gate, a small storehouse. I had to back off, however, and I don't know where he went after. I'm assuming it's around to the right, but I haven't seen him make that move. But the rear dog at this point has padded all the way off to the right, and the front dog just went all the way to the left. So now is the time to get up to that front door. Alright, and inside, so first step, we'll shut the front door, so if we hear it open again, we know he's come inside. And we've got two chests in this room. We've got this one and one over to my right. And there is the sweet spot. And I straight away failed the lockpicking. But we got a new level out of it, so that's right. Even the failures are practice, so they all count. And there we go. Alright, let's see if this one has our ring.
What? This is nothing but an ordinary copper band. It's not worth a 10 penny.
That's odd, but it doesn't really matter if it's worth anything or not, so long as it's worth something to the miller. We'll see whether or not we can find some extra goods in here that we can potentially sell off. Alright, so we have some bandages. They're always worth grabbing, although we got a few. And just some clean clothes, really. So we'll grab them anyway. And we'll be on our way. So, after a quick walk back to the mill, it's time to give this copper ring over to the miller and finally complete this quest.
God be with you.
I have that ring for you.
Good. Nice to know you're the sort of lad I can trust with a job like that. Now run with the ring to Wojciech, the miller in Kohelnitz. He'll have some work for you, and I'll have something for you soon too. A clever fellow like you will never want for work. At the very least, I'll buy risky goods from you. I mean the kind that used to belong to someone else and you can't sell to just anyone.
And it looks like we just unlocked the miller as a fence.
You'll buy stolen goods from me. Oh, thanks for your trust. I'm sure that'll come in useful.
Now, the miller won't just buy stolen items. The miller will buy pretty much everything you have to sell. So he's a very good option to quickly dump off a load of goods if you need to.
I've got some goods here whose owners might miss them.
All right. Let's see what we can do about that.
So after quickly selling off all my goods, there is one more thing that I need to speak to the miller about.
Would you teach me something about the milling craft? Like how to get things out of strangers' purses into your own?
Aye. Why not? You're handy enough. No doubt you'll master it. Come behind the mill where we won't be seen. Take care.
Now, the pickpocketing mechanics in Kingdom Come Deliverance are a little
I'll stand here
strange.
and pretend I don't know you're there. You try sneaking up behind me without me seeing you and take something from my purse. First, you have to rummage in the purse. The longer you do it, the better chance you have of finding something valuable. But also, getting caught in the act. Once you've found something you want, you've got to pull it out. Carefully, but fast enough so I don't notice. Try stealing my dagger. It's there, mixed up with other things.
Now, that in itself sounds pretty straightforward, but a semi-complicated process. What you've got to do is hold E on the target. The longer you can hold for, the longer you rummage around, and the more time you have to actually rummage around inside their pockets.
Caught you.
I ran out of time, and I get
real,
caught.
I'd be yelling for a guard. Try it again.
Now, once you get past this first window and you've given yourself enough time, you then need to uncover the item and select the item for extraction, and then you've got to get back to the exit in the bag to pull the item out, and you've got to do it within the timer that is cycling around the outside of the clock, a timer that you set up in this phase. Alright, so I gave myself 12 seconds here. I've got to go around the ring to the item, select it to uncover it, select it again to extract it, then make my way back to the exit to take out the item.
I hardly noticed you were there. I think you're ready to try it out for real. Best practice on drunks and sleeping folk, so you don't end up in jail before you even get started.
Thanks, Peshek.
You're welcome, but I'll be having that dagger back now.
Alright, so with the beginner quest completed and the couple of little tutorials and training missions that are floating around the mill completed, we now have all of the basic skills that we need to do stealth, sneaking, and thievery within the world of Kingdom Come Deliverance. So our next stop is Rattay, but I'm going to be doing that one in the next video, but just to give you a bit of an idea on exactly how much space we've actually got here, everything that we just did played out on that one clear area. And that's where we started. There is a hell of a lot of map to play around here, and there is a hell of a lot on the map as well. No really large empty areas. It is very dense and very tightly packed everywhere you go. and I'm really looking forward to seeing all of this map. Anyways, ladies and gents, I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you very much for watching. As always, remember to check the video description down below for links to my social media, links to my Twitch, links to my Discord, and links to my Patreon and Subscribestar if you would like to help support the channel. And as always, remember to click that like button, share and subscribe if you want to see more, and until next time, take care.